Hey everybody, I'm Dave.
And I'm Kyle.
And this is Technology, Engineering, and Science Today. Kyle, what's today's episode?
It's They Sank My Battleship, David.
That's right. Episode 6, They Sank My Battleship. We're going to be talking about military technology a little bit. We got some articles to go over, that kind of thing. But as always, first we're going to mention the last episode we did, which was on robotics. We don't have any commentary.
Sadly.
But of course, always keep in mind that commentary on any of our previous episodes remains open, no matter how far back. Even if a year from now you want to talk about the first episode with us, we will go back and catch up on that and answer your question. So if you want to tell us we're wrong about something or you want to get involved in the conversation, you can send us an email at test@pearsonmediagroup.com or call us and leave us a voicemail at 501-396-9351. Get in touch with us on Facebook or in the comments section of this video. As always, commentary will be read on the show, on the next show, and we'll answer your question or your comment. And they don't have to be nice, but please keep the language clean. So this week's topic being military technology. Where did my thing go, Kyle?
Oh, you closed it out, it looks like.
So in the United States, the military is funded better than any other department or any other thing within our government.
Yes.
Overall, in 2011, they spent $683.7 billion. Now, about $79.1 billion of that was on research, development, testing, and evaluation. So many of the innovations that happen in technology, that happen in vehicular design, things like that, a lot of it comes out of the military before it hits the public sphere.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Come on, Kyle, get involved in the conversation here.
That's a lot of money, David.
It is a lot of money.
Well, more than any other country spends on defense for sure.
Yeah, $683.7 billion. I think, if I remember right, that's more than the next 3 countries combined on that list.
It seems like it, I think, which would probably be Great Britain.
Right, Great
Maybe
Britain
France.
is number 2. Great Britain is number 2.
Germany may be one of them.
I don't know.
No, probably Russia.
But whatever the next 3 on the list, we spend more than they do combined.
And that's a little scary to think about it.
We're well defended.
We can't be taken.
Right. Now, military technology, a lot of it we don't know about yet. Most of the things that they do, of course, are classified, and we won't know about them till much later.
After they've been used, probably.
Yeah, after they've been put into use a couple of times, that kind of thing. But we're going to talk just a little bit today about some of the stuff that's not classified. So, Kyle, you've got an article for us.
Okay, I'll start off. I'll save the fun one for the end. So this is called the AT Black Knight Transformer, and it is literally a truck which has propellers on it that can fly, and it was tested back in December. They did a driving test, and now, when was this from? This is from April 11th, this article. They did flying test in which it took off and hovered about 10 feet above the ground and then landed, and they say that it can hover up to 10,000 feet in the air.
Why?
And it can be unmanned or manned for flight, and they say it's for evacuating wounded soldiers.
Okay.
So instead of a helicopter, which this is still kind of a helicopter,
It's a
it's an
helicopter in a different
unmanned
shape.
it's an unmanned helicopter. It's got more room in it.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So they want to evacuate wounded prisoners. I'm sorry. Wounded soldiers.
yes, and not only can it fly, it can also drive across land if needed. Let's see. I don't want that, but I think it's pretty cool. Something that's unmanned and will be able to evacuate soldiers if needed and not have to risk the life of a pilot. And this is a lot cheaper than a helicopter.
Okay. So fuel use, that kind of thing. It's obviously going to be cheaper to make because it looks like it's mostly just a frame
Yes.
with a bunch of propellers on it. So it's going to be lighter, of course, and everything. But is it going to consume less fuel and that kind of thing?
Let's see. It says that the rotors are powered by electric engines or electric motors. So then this also eliminates, so they don't need a tail rotor. Well, it's like a quadcopter, so they don't need the tail rotor.
Mm-hmm.
Or engine transmission, which would add more weight. I don't even see where they would have a motor. I wonder if this whole thing's electric. It doesn't say. I'd have to look up the other article, which I think is right here. Once it opens. Okay, let me scroll down here. Oh, this is cool. Oh no, that's showing this is showing what it would look like. It's a multi-rotor helicopter and a car. Doesn't explicitly state what it runs off of.
It looks like it's electric.
Yes.
It does look like it's electric.
But it has, yes, looking at this, it looks like it's electric, and it has the payload bay of an Osprey, which are the current VTOLs that we have, the ones that the propellers.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about the Osprey later. Yeah.
But it's a lot cheaper, and
for those who don't know, VTOL is vertical takeoff and landing.
Yes. And it takes out, it's cool. It takes out the pilot, and it's remote controlled.
It's just another expansion of drone technology.
Yes. Yeah, really. It kind of is, with being able to carry people. But yes, that's what it is. It's pretty cool. They don't have exactly when they expect to put it into production. It's still in prototyping right now.
And we know about it?
Yes. It's obviously not, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Top secret.
I don't read mine.
Top
so.
secret. There was another word I was looking for.
Classified?
But yes, classified, yes. Classified. It's unclassified. Maybe it could lead to the flying cars of the future. I don't know if I'd drive a car that looked like that.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look very futuristic. Maybe it'll look better when they actually put it into production, but it doesn't look like any flying car of the future.
Oh, it's got plenty of room for the soccer mom who has to take the whole soccer team to soccer practice. It fit it all.
Sure. And they could even lay down.
Yes, they could even lay down and relax and just land it right there on the field. Be like, hey, I'm here. Look at me in my flying monster truck thing. And okay,
Okay.
so it's cool.
Yeah, okay. So we'll post that article on the Facebook so everybody can see it. What's it called if people want to go look it up
It's
before we get
called
around to
the
posting it?
AT Black Knight Transformer, and AT is the name. Advanced Tactics, that's the name of the company, but it's the Black Knight Transformer.
Okay.
Kind of, I guess, named after the Transformers, in which it's a car but can turn into a helicopter kind of thing. So
Okay. So we got a lot of drones. We do. We have a lot of drones.
we probably have too many drones for our own good.
But when those drones, when new designs come out for those drones outlive their usefulness. What happens to the retired drones?
Maybe like the airship graveyard that we have. What is that, in Arizona or Nevada? One of those places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Giant airship
they'll end
graveyard.
up. They would probably end up in a secure airplane graveyard of some type. But DARPA, which stands for
I don't know. I
can you
can't read
remind me?
minds.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I
Does it not say
do
in the
know, but I
article?
can't remember. I don't believe so.
Defense, yeah.
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. They have decided to repurpose the old RQ-7 Shadow UAVs. Now, what they're going to do with these is they're going to put a little module underneath the wing that lets them bring Wi-Fi internet connectivity directly to the front lines. Now, they're going to have a range of 32 miles. And there's some neat pictures in the article of what's inside the plastic module. But they're going to weigh 20 pounds, a little bit less than 20 pounds, only have a power consumption of about 150 watts, and provide the same speeds as a typical 4G cell phone network.
That's crazy.
A little bit.
Mobile satellites
Yeah.
in Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah. Basically. But yeah, what these are going to do is they're going to bring Wi-Fi to the troops. It'll probably allow for better and faster communications between command and the troops on the ground. They'll get their orders faster.
Phone calls that you have to make.
Or radio contact, that kind of thing. And of course, it'll let troops that are on those front lines that don't get the chance to call home, like the ones who sit in the bases,
Right.
A chance to talk to their families back home. Now I know, I don't know what kind of cost this is going to take. Like, I know that whenever you call home from a ship out on the ocean, a Navy ship,
Right.
it costs a ton of money.
Do they make them? They don't make them pay that.
No, the military pays for it, but it costs the military a lot of money because they have to route it through a satellite network.
Right.
So, and obviously this is going to cost money. You've got fuel for the drones, and you've got the pilot and that kind of thing that's got to run them. You got to have somebody to plan the routes and that kind of thing. It's all going to need a lot of organization. But really, I didn't know this was something that we needed.
That we needed Wi-Fi on the front lines.
Right. I didn't think this was a priority.
So I guess while you're on your break, you can go and play games on your phone or something, or text, or do other unnecessary things that you probably shouldn't be doing on the job, and join the rest of the American workforce by playing on their phone while they're at work.
I don't think these soldiers are going to be playing on their phones while they're at work. The article doesn't really go into what they're going to be used for, but I would just imagine that it's for increased communications between command and the troops on the ground.
Yeah, with the well, let's
and
see.
maybe the ability to call home.
Does does it route to another satellite? Where does it get its?
I would say probably from a nearby base, or maybe a satellite. I don't know.
Okay, it
It doesn't.
doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't talk about that. Um,
Yeah, it doesn't talk about where it sends information to
no,
and
but
where it gets
it's
it from.
well. This says that their first round of testing yielded successful results for the steerable millimeter wave antennas, which demonstrated their ability to swiftly acquire and subsequently track their target, thus creating a stable communications link between moving platforms. So maybe from another drone.
So they just bounce it off of each other until.
Or they may do a satellite. There's no
Who
telling
knows?
how they. Like I said, it doesn't specifically say, but all I know is they've got all it says is that they have they have power amplifiers on board that'll boost the Wi-Fi signal to 32-mile range, um, and they used a single gallium nitride chip
The power at all.
to make the power the power efficiency increase by 20%. That's
Okay.
that's really the only
That's all
specifics
they
that they
say.
they list. These are old drones too. I mean, these are really some of the first ones we put out. They don't look like the ones they don't look like what you think of when you
What
think
we have
drone.
today.
Yeah. So all right.
All right. So let's see. What do we want to talk about next?
You've got
I guess I'll talk about this one. Here, I'll pull this up.
Are you gonna do three?
Yeah, I'll do three.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm only gonna do two.
So the British Ministry of Defense has new soldiers that cost 1.1 million pounds, which is 1.8 million dollars, and it's called Proton Man, and there it's a robotic mannequin designed to test suits and equipment for the British Armed Forces to help protect against chemical and biological weapons. So I haven't watched the video, but they say that threats of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons comes with the territory of, for modern soldiers. Aside from the horrific effects of the weapons themselves, the mere threat of the use require military personnel to carry out their duties wearing all-encompassing protective clothing that isn't very comfortable.
Okay.
And it's restrictive. It restricts their movement, and it's overall more of a hindrance. But it protects. I mean, I'd rather not die from anthrax than be very
Sure.
uncomfortable.
Sure.
But it looks like it's a mannequin that is probably has a whole bunch of sensors on it that they're going to use to test, I guess, different vests, different equipment, personal equipment that you'd wear instead of doing human testing. Um, but so it's a robot, and
What kind of extent do they use the robot in testing the suits? Do they just put the suits on them and hit them with things, or does the robot actually perform tasks
I guess
with
here we
the
go.
suit? Or
Let's see. So okay. So using advanced materials, they have over 100 sensors. It can determine how well NBC, which is the nuclear, biological, and chemical suits, provide protection with walking, marching, running, sitting, kneeling, and even while sighting a weapon. So it has full human movement to test and see how constrictive the suit is. And I guess they measure the data that comes off of it, and I guess I guess they have data from humans to see, I guess, how. Well, I guess they could test current on it to see are restricted by, I guess, how much force it takes
Sure.
relatively compared to each other, like moving your arms or whatever, or sitting. Um, how much more it takes to see how more efficient the current suits are, and if um, it'll protect against the weapon. So you can go set it in the gas chamber
Hmm.
and test for, I guess, how well it's sealed, and uh, and then from that you'll still be able to see uh, how much freedom of movement the soldier has. So it's just an alternative way of testing. You can get an idea
A
of,
$1.8 million alternative.
yes, but it's better than uh, well, I guess the current form of testing, which is go put it on them, and whenever they get into the situation, we'll know whether it works.
Well, I'm sure that they don't test it that way.
Well, I
They
mean,
probably have them use it in a controlled area, in a controlled setting to test how well it maneuver, how well it allows them to maneuver and that kind of thing. I mean, you don't have to put them in the battlefield situation to see whether or not it's difficult for them to move while wearing it.
yeah, but for testing it, that's the only way you'll be able to know if weapons are ever used on the battlefield.
You can always simulate that. Put a gun in their hands and have them sight it. I mean, that's all the robot's doing. He's not going into the battlefield to test it.
No, I'm talking about how well the suit's sealed and all that.
Right, well, you can put it on anything. You don't have to put it on a soldier for that.
But if they're you can't see how well they can move through a gas cloud.
No, but you would think test those two things separately. You put it on them, see how well they move, and then test it and see if it holds out gases well.
But you can't test two at the same time, and now you can.
Why
With
would you
this.
need to test two at the same time?
I don't know, or nuclear. Well, you can't exactly test nuclear.
No,
That
because your
might be
one
a
point your
problem.
$1.8 million robot would be obliterated.
But I don't know. It's a better alternative.
You could send it into Ukraine
Yeah.
and go to Chernobyl,
Yep.
see how it fares there.
See how it fares, in which humans can, well, I mean, go inside the reactor. Well, you still can't go inside the reactor.
Hmm.
You can't spend too much
You
time in
can't
the
spend too
reactor.
much time in the fallout zone either. Still,
Yeah, you can spend there. Oh, I can't remember the numbers, but you
it's
can.
like a 10-hour limit. They
Yeah.
get that the Ukrainian government gets for that. But did you hear about those people that were going to turn it into a theme park?
Yes, I think so.
They're going to buy the area and turn it into a nuclear fallout themed theme park.
That's a bit disturbing.
A little bit. I don't know why anybody would want to go.
No, I wouldn't. You can't spend more than 10 hours there.
But then there's also the people who want to turn it into a museum, and I think that's probably a more likely and probably a better use of the space. But I mean, eventually the fallout will go away.
Yeah, but it'll be millions of years from now.
Yeah, but
Before it goes
it's
away.
it's within safe levels that you can go within a certain distance of Chernobyl without a suit on for
Right,
an
you
amount of
can't-
time. So, I mean, you can go in. I mean, people go in with a suit all the time.
You can go.
I mean, we have pictures of the buildings and
Yeah, you
everything.
can go into, I can't remember what the city's called, that all where all the housing was for
Mhm.
them. But you can go in there, but you can't. I can't remember how close you can get to the reactors, but the reactors are still
Yeah.
off limits. You can't go in there for a very extended period of time, even with the suit on.
Yep.
Because it's still too hot.
Yep. Okay. So, Boeing. Let's talk about Boeing and what they're doing for our Marines. Now, when the Marines go into a place, of course they go usually with the Navy
Right there, the
to get
front
places,
force.
and they have different methods of getting in. But one of the ways to get into where they're going is to use a V-22 Osprey tilt rotor aircraft, which is a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. what's really cool about the Osprey is that it takes off like a helicopter, but then transitions and flies as if it's a fixed-wing airplane.
Yes.
So it's a propeller version of the Harrier jump jet.
Yes.
In a way. The Harrier jump jet, of course, it's a little bit more dramatic in its takeoffs.
Well, I think
kind of thing.
now that I think the U.S. uses, I think it's the F-35 because the Harriers are British. But
yes, the Harriers are British.
It's the F-35 now that we have, which is like it.
Okay. But so the V-22 Osprey is not very big. So one of the problems that the Marine Corps has had is that once they get somewhere, they're pretty much walking. Whenever they sit down, they're pretty much walking where they're going. But that's not true anymore because Boeing designed them a vehicle which will fit in the V-22 Osprey's cargo bay, and it's they're calling it the Phantom Badger, and they put all the systems that normally come in a combat vehicle into a much smaller package, and it's modular as well.
Right.
So when they land, it expands when they take it off the vehicle. The V-22 Osprey, they expand the back, and the configuration that's shown here has a gun on top and a few cots for wounded.
That's actually
that goes on the
cool.
back.
It looks like, well, for those of you, when you see the article, it looks like the old Willys Jeeps from World War II.
It looks like an updated version of that, sure. So it has a 240 brake horsepower multi-fuel engine, which I assume means it can take gas or diesel or
it can take
whatever fuel. And it has four-wheel drive, all-wheel steering, a top speed of 80 miles an hour, a hydraulic suspension system that allow it to travel at speed in rough conditions. And Boeing says that its 35-inch tires can handle logs as thick as telephone poles, and it can carry 3,300 pounds of payload, which is a huge increase over comparable vehicles. It's built by it was developed by a company called a sub-department of Boeing called Special Pursuits Cell. It took 6 months from the first computer design to an operating product, and like I said, it can fit in the back of a V-22 Osprey. Now they tested it in cargo plane airdrops, so a popular example is dropping tanks out of airplanes. They tested it that way.
It's actually pretty scary.
Right.
Thinking about it.
But I mean, this thing it's got an okay ride clearance and big tires and everything, so they're not going to be getting stuck.
With it being modular, it allows for a lot of different situational.
Yeah, and like I said, they packed a lot of the technology that goes into like a normal Humvee into this thing. Yeah.
So it's nothing.
Which is really impressive because it's tiny.
So you can use. It's nice because you can use off-the-shelf parts if you need to modify it if ever needed. It's not.
How far across is the normal Humvee?
It's probably like 7 or 8 feet, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, but it's really wide.
This one looks like it has. Oh well, no, it has a little more room than just for 2 people. It could probably fit almost 2.5 people across.
It looks like
you could.
What it looks like is you're gonna have 2 people sitting in the seat and then a gunner.
Right.
And then you may have somebody back there with the gunner. It just depends on what your modular setup looks like, really.
And you could probably change out those cots that are back there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That whole setup that you're seeing on the back, that's the modular part. It comes off, you put a different one on.
Yeah.
So They developed a bunch of different kinds of modules and that kind of stuff for it as well. Um, you know what it kind of looks like to me?
What?
It looks like in Halo,
The Jeeps that you drive in, not the Warthogs.
Warthog. Yeah,
Looks like the Warthogs.
it looks like like it's that kind of, it's about that size, and it looks like it's about that same basic design. Like I see the future of that being the Warthog kind of thing.
It would be pretty cool. I'm okay. Yeah.
That's what that looks like to me, anyway.
Right. Yeah. It looks like when you could change it. The Warthog. The Warthog was. Wow. We're actually going to talk about this. The Warthog looks more like a pickup truck kind of thing.
Sure.
With where the gunner just stands in the back. They're not in they're not restrained like that. But it still has that same basic idea
Right.
to it.
It's more hillbilly warfare
Yes.
looking thing.
Yes.
The Warthog. You know what I'm talking about? In movies, you always see like this one hillbilly's got a big machine gun mounted to the top of his
Strapped to the
truck.
back of his truck.
Yeah.
Or like the.
And then one of them's up there operating the thing.
Well, it's like the more I guess like the Smolyans they have where they mount the.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty popular.
They mount the machine guns on the back of the truck. So yeah, it's like that kind of.
Yep.
But
All right. Well, we saved the best for last. Kyle has got a really interesting but also really terrifying article.
Okay, so most of you probably already know what a railgun is, and
why do you think most people would know what a railgun is?
Well, because you hear them all the time in science fiction. But anyways, it's an electrically powered gun in which you have two rails that are, hold on, let me see where's the camera, that are parallel like this, and then you have, so I'll use his pen as an example. You have, the pen is going to be the object that's firing, so you have a current on this side, and it'll loop through back to the battery or whatever's powering it. And the magnetic field that occurs from the current creates a force down the rail.
Sure.
That will propel that propels the rail that it's firing.
Right. So it's using electromagnetivity.
Yes.
Okay.
But so General Atomics has designed one that they plan on putting on. Where was the name of the class of the ship? I'll find it here. Oh, okay. It's going to go on a Spearhead class joint high-speed vessel that will, I guess, first appear, or they're going to start this in 2016. But yeah, there's a video you'll have to watch, and it's basically a giant cannon that will fire projectiles for, where's this picture here? Missile defense, surface warfare, long-range firing, and the surface warfare is naval battles.
Sure.
Now
in the video, we watched this thing go through two bulkheads. Of course, bulkheads being.
Ignore it.
Bulkheads being the walls of ships, the standing walls, usually the vertical walls that support weight. They're bulkheads, and
it went through it with no problem.
Yeah, it went through two of them and just kept going.
So
remember, there's no explosives.
No,
here. This is just a solid object that you're firing, and it's going so fast. It's carrying so much energy that it actually ionizes the air when it goes through these bulkheads, so you see flames
coming out of it. All right, so let me see if I can ever scroll down. Okay, so the basic idea behind, I don't know if this is what General Atomics, but from the Wikipedia page, a typical railgun of this size would use about 5 mega amps of current. And just to give you a perspective, it takes 50 to 500 milliamps um, to stop a human heart. So 5 megaamps is also a lot more than you're going to find in
What does that convert to if you convert it to regular amps? How many is it?
5 million
5 million amps.
amps. So uh, it's like a trillion times the amount that it would take to kill a human.
Wow.
So you would be fried. You would
Yeah.
be atomized. I wouldn't say
Right.
atomized, but you would be gone
So
if you touched it.
So do they have to cool these magnets?
It doesn't exactly say because they're more one shot fire at the time. They don't cool the rails really. You can see all the cables here, but they don't really cool the rails here. Here we go. Heat dissipation. From the Wikipedia, massive amounts of heat are created from the electricity and from the friction of the object going down the rails because it has to be in contact with the rails for the electric current. And the heat causes thermal expansion. And so they have problems with the melting of the equipment. But what they do is they use extremely heat resistant materials that are also conductive. But the rails erode after each launch because of the heat and the expansion and contraction.
So how long is it before they have to replace the rails?
Well, it can be either it can be from a one fire thing to what General Atomics hopes to accomplish is they hope to fire 10 rounds a minute from one of these. So it'll be like the I don't know if it'll be fully automated or if it'll be like tanks where you actually have to pull out the round and put in a new one. You know what I'm talking about, where you pull out the shell and you put in the new.
Well, aren't newer tanks
they
automated?
They might be automated.
I don't think they have to do that anymore. They may. I don't know.
Or like old artillery in World War II, where they shoot it, pull out the shell, put in the new one, really quick. But
So how fast is the projectile moving when it comes out of the barrel?
How fast is this thing moving? It moves at Mach 7.5, which is 7.5 times the speed of sound, which is 5,700 miles per hour. And so to give you to tune that down, that's 1.5 miles per second. And it will reach...
Are these regular miles or nautical miles?
Regular miles.
Okay.
And it will reach the horizon.
They are not the same thing.
Yes. It'll reach the horizon in 6 seconds. So if you're out on the sea, and anyone who's ever been on a ship, if you just look out, you can see where the sky meets
the horizon.
The ocean, yes, the horizon.
Yeah, everyone knows what a horizon is.
It would reach that in 6 seconds.
That's
impressive. How fast it would fire.
That is impressive.
And it has a range of 110 nautical miles, which is 126 regular miles, or 203 kilometers, whichever unit you prefer to use. And it had the energy that is created from firing this object. There's so much energy that it doesn't have to carry an explosive to destroy the target.
Right.
The force and the energy from the impact is enough to destroy the target.
Right.
And then they go on and say the advantage of an electromagnetic railgun is that it costs orders of magnitude less than conventional missile systems because you don't have to pay for the explosives and all the computer and everything like I think it's the Titan missiles, the ICBMs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't remember which one it is, but there's a class of ICBMs, and every time they fire it, it costs like $7 million just to fire that one missile.
It's a lot of money.
Yes, that's a lot of money for.
I'd like to have one of those.
For all of the computer components that are eventually just going to be destroyed when it explodes. And all the
I'd
guiding.
like to have that $7 million.
Yes. Okay. So, where is I going with this? So, it also makes the. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So, and it says that while the enemy is lobbing missiles at millions of dollars around,
Mm-hmm.
we're only firing rails at only a few $1,000s around. So as much
That's
as it
still a lot of money.
as well, but these are specially designed
Still,
things
that's
that.
still a lot of money.
But
Man.
but the cool thing about this is that you can, since this fires so fast, so missile defense, if you see an incoming missile,
Mm-hmm.
you can aim it like you would do like if you're doing target shooting. Aim it and just fire it. And since it's moving so fast, the effect from wind speed would be very negligible compared to the true velocity of this, that you would easily be able to reach the missile and intercept it and destroy it before it even got to you. Because the current one, we have systems on our ships that are basically giant miniguns. You probably know what I'm talking about. Giant miniguns that fire at the incoming missiles.
Yeah, I know what you're
at
talking
the
about.
interception. But this isn't. While it's for, let's see. Oh, here we go. 32 megajoule muzzle energy. Oh, that's what their test was. That's a lot of energy. But
Right, you guys have really got to go watch this video when we post it up. It's on gizmag.com. If you want to go find it, there's a list of topics on the right-hand side of the screen. You can click on military, and it's near the top. Yeah. You guys have got to go see this video. Like I said, we'll post it on our Facebook. But if you want to see it before we get around to doing that, you got to go see this.
Okay, so here we go. And something else that the Wikipedia article talks about, but is what else we can use.
Not a very reliable source.
Well, Wikipedia. Okay. You can go view the articles down at the bottom where they gathered the information.
Actually,
from.
Wikipedia is very reliable.
Okay, but anyways,
believe it or not, if you change an article and put false information in it, they will get rid of your false information within a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
They have people that watch it to make sure that because they want their site to be taken seriously. They don't want professors and people to keep saying that's not a reliable source, because it really is. They take from reliable sources and just compile it into one thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So other things that they could use railguns for and have been talked about, and you've probably seen in like video games or movies, is launching aircrafts, in which
right now, to launch an aircraft off an aircraft carrier, we use
it's a hydraulic or steam powered actually.
But a hook that kind of launches
it.
Yeah.
But you could use
so they're not completely on their own power.
A magnetic, which this is where you'd need superinduction. This is where you'd have to have the liquid nitrogen to carry it. There's plenty of videos in which you can go look at superconduction, and you can see. I think the most popular is like there's a hover train over tracks, but you can go look it up on YouTube. But so launch spacecrafts, because this thing fires so fast, you could easily. You'd easily be able to launch something, and then because I think the Earth's escape velocity is 11.2 kilometers a second, so to escape the pull from Earth, you'd have to be going that fast. But so after firing off, you could fire off rockets or whatever. But another idea is weaponry, which we were looking at the coil gun
Right.
earlier, which is kind of like a railgun.
It's kind of a really, really weak version. It wasn't very exciting.
Right. But we could make more power. I mean, we don't have battery technology yet to
Right.
fire. But so to give you an example, the railgun fires at 3,500 meters per second, and the common issue rifle, the M16, has a muzzle velocity of 930 meters per second. Big difference in firing speed, but if we, I mean, like I'd say, we'd need more advancement in technology and cooling and all that, and be able to cheapen this, but we could make handheld rail guns that would fire objects. So taking
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
no, not anytime
I
soon.
don't think I want that to happen.
It'd be
Handheld railguns.
it'd be kind of scary, but and then
If you see the kind of destructive force that this thing has got, you don't want somebody to have that in their hands.
no, but
You don't really want the military to have it.
but yeah, so I think the coil gun would probably be, the coil gun's a more alternative, and you can go look that up, and it uses the same basic principles, but it creates a magnetic field outside and propels it, as opposed to using the rail itself as part of the circuit. But it's a different method, and it's a more practical handheld method to using it. You need a lot more force
Right.
from it, but you'd also need a lot more energy to put into it. But it's a start, and for what the Navy, we don't know what, if we ever got into naval battles and we had a fleet of these Spearhead class ships, we would be a great force.
No, you can take out the enemy fleet with one of those.
Yes.
You don't need multiple shots.
I mean, after seeing
it went through 2 bulkheads and kept going.
Yeah, with no problem. I mean, I don't know what the energy after that was, but I mean,
still enough to do some damage
yes.
at least.
Who knows how many ships it could go through before it's done.
All right. Well, so yeah, railguns. That's something.
It's something. It's
so,
scary.
if you want to get in touch with us, tell us how we are wrong about something, because I'm sure we're wrong about something every week.
Yeah, probably.
You wanna, or you just want to join the conversation, tell us how awesome you think what we're talking about is, or just insult us a little bit. We're fine with that. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're nice to us or not, but do keep your language clean. You can get in touch with us through our email at test@pearsonmediagroup.com. Call us and leave us a voicemail at 501-396-9351. Of course, there's the Facebook page, and there is the comment section of this YouTube video.
Yes.
Next week, you want to talk about some kind of scientific theory stuff next week? We've been doing a lot of technology, a lot of engineering. We haven't done a lot of science.
We can. It might bore some people to death, but
we need to talk a little bit about science, because we're not living up to our title.
We've only been talking about engineering and technology.
We started off kind of talking about science with our space episode, which was the first one.
We could talk
but
about,
even in that one, we went off on engineering a little bit.
There's a lot of scientific theory behind these things, because engineers, what we do is we take all the science and the applied science. We apply science.
All I do is I write the program to make it work.
You write the program. Good for you, David.
I sit in the office
your
while
mommy
you guys
tells
get
you
your
you're
hands
special
dirty.
too, doesn't she?
Oh, of course, every day.
Okay.
She calls me every day, tells me how special I am.
So engineers, what we do is we take the science and we take the results from data and experiments, and we say, okay, well, we know we can do this, this, and this with it.
Sure.
But we don't. We trust that the physicists are right, and the chemists, and bioengineers, well, we can just ignore them.
Right.
But for medical field, they trust that doctors and surgeons and all of them are right, and we apply it. But we don't we don't explain. We haven't explained really the background.
So next week. Next week we will talk about some kind of scientific discovery or something that's going on in that industry. We do need to announce that we're coming into finals for the spring semester right now.
Yes.
So things are getting really busy and really stressful. That's why we didn't have an episode last week, and we're going to try our best to have an episode next week. But the week after that, we're going to be in the middle of finals, and it's probably not going to be possible.
Not the best, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be possible for us to get an episode out there. Then after that, we may try to do one more after finals before we go on summer vacation. But over summer vacation, we may try to do it remotely from 2 different locations.
Right, we can try.
Our audio quality will be reduced, and that kind of thing. And it's not going to be as smooth, but we could do it. But we're not going to be in the same place very often.
No.
Over the summer.
It won't. Well.
So.
Unforeseen circumstances are preventing us from being able to do it from one location easily and cheaply.
Yeah, personal things. Yeah. So anyway, contact info. Get in touch with us, that kind of thing. We definitely want to hear from you. Always remember that the point of this show is an open forum discussion. And we always like to have the input from our viewers, even if it's completely irrelevant. Send us an email or call our voicemail. Leave us a message, so we have something to talk about at the beginning of the show.
Yes, instead of just skipping that whole section like we have been.
All right. Well, so next week is some kind of scientific discovery. We're not sure yet. Maybe we'll post on the Facebook about it before we get there.
Yeah, we'll find something that's cool.
All right, so we'll see you guys. We will see you guys next week.
This program was produced by Pearson Media Group. PMG is a diverse group of individuals dedicated to perfecting their respective crafts through collaborative projects.